Good to see you back on Mentory TV. Well, 2020 has been a tough year to say the least. The COVID-19 pandemic hit and it doesn't let off. And there is tragedy and heartbreak across the globe. But even in times like this, in times of crisis, there's something positive to be found. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And due to my YouTube channel, Mentory TV, I was able to reach out to brilliant minds and visionaries and people in general sharing their insights and their thoughts with us here on the platform. So I thought, why not package it together, call it Review 2020 and offer it to you in this kind of condensed packages. And at this point, let me also say thank you that you've been joining our community, are loyal and keeping curious. So I hope you're going to enjoy this kind of Review 2020. It's one thing to be a leader for one of the best teams in the NFL, but it became just as important, if not more so, to be a leader in our community.
Yes, when I was growing up, I had leadership, and it was a time where we needed leadership. I was born in 1954, and here in the United States, that was the year of the Brown versus Board of Education, and my first hero was Thurgood Marshall. And through all of these scenarios, education has been the foundation by which I could have hope. And one of the inspirational leaders of my childhood was Martin Luther King. And I had a chance to, hear him and learn about the importance of nonviolent protests, which is happening even today. But that's one of the unique things about playing a violent sport, is that you can protest violently on the football field to make a difference. And so now is the time, the foundation of all of these circumstances, where it's important for leadership to really define change. It's important for change to happen now worldwide because of leadership that has been successful in dealing with the pandemic, like in New Zealand, and leadership that has been abhorrent in dealing with the pandemic, like here in the United States under Donald Trump. And so leadership, is a commodity that saves lives. And that's why it's so important to focus on leadership at every level, even in the community, because it builds up the leadership that we're all living under right now.
I was wondering, super hubs sounds really good to me. And then I thought, well, the line between super hubs, which has a positive connotation in my mind, could also be super bullies. And for you, is Trump a super hub or a super bully?
Well, I think the term super hub is kind of agnostic. It's kind of neutral. It just says that by the virtue of his position, unfortunately, he is the central node within the political system of the United States. So that by virtue of his position, he has a lot of power, but obviously he's a bully. He has no behavioral standards. I do think he is mentally ill. I think he's dangerous. He's not equipped for this position. I've said this since the outset, from before he was even elected, and I thought there was a 50-50% that he would be elected. And now my worry is, I don't think he's intellectually smart, but he's got a really kind of gut instinct that has served him very well, and that lets him recognize people's weaknesses. And my worry is, Joe Biden just said, he's worried about Donald Trump not leaving the Oval Office if he loses the election. I don't even get to that worry. I think that Donald Trump sees that. And if that were to happen, yes, people could get rid of him somehow. You can physically remove someone. My worry is that he will either suspend the elections, because he knows if there is an election, his chances are very low that he would be elected, or that he stacks the odds in his favor by virtue of cyber influencing through Russia or China, whoever can help him remotely, maybe this time really hacking into voting machines, which is suspected happened in some locations even last time around, only people hadn't been able to prove it 100%. And of course, keeping people from voting.
Let me quickly interrupt the conversation to say thank you that you are here with me on the channel. If you do enjoy what I'm putting out, the in-depth kind of conversations, then why don't you subscribe and also hit the bell button so I can keep you informed with our newest releases. Thanks for that in advance, and let's get back to the conversation.
I mean, leadership is a very interesting concept, and I have been lucky in my times, in my career, to meet an incredible number of leaders. So I could really try to abstract from each one of them what is one important characteristic that makes them such a great leader. And I came to some conclusions that leadership is an art, is not a science. Mm-hmm. There are no fixed rules that are determining the good leadership from the bad leadership. Yeah, there are a certain amount of basic principles, there are a certain amount of basic values, but there are good leaders that operate in a certain way, and there are good leaders who operate in a different way. And it also depends very much, it is an art because there is not a playbook that tells you how to do it. And it also depends very much on the environment that the leader is operating. You know, a political leader has to operate in a certain way which is different from the industrial leader. A religious leader has to operate in a different way from other leaders that he is compared or confronted with. But the good characteristics of the leader are the clear definition of a vision, the setting up the strategy and the processes that are going to allow you to get to that vision, motivate the team. And one important factor is listen. Some of the best leaders that I met in my life are people that were listening. Some of the worst people that I met, some of the worst leaders, not people, leaders that I met, were people who were hearing you talking. They were not capturing the meaning.
What would you say you could really see during this period of the COVID-19 crisis? Are trends that started to materialize or reinforce themselves that you will say, okay, these are here long-term to stay and to really commercialize on?
Yeah. So, the United States is different than Europe. And I think in a funny way, COVID-19 made us realize we're more part of a community than we normally think about. And the climate is certainly part of that community. And I think globally, the world, there's other countries who are better at that naturally than the US by nature. But I think that, people are trying to think about how they take care of their neighbor better. And when you think about from a point of view of how you have a greener, cleaner climate and economy, I think people individually are much more committed. And I think that it's reinforced. I can tell you my discussions with my major customers, even though I'm sitting here at my home at the moment, are much more intense about how they can be greener faster. I know we were talking to one of our customers about building hydrogen plants. And we gave them a timeline and they said, can't you get there faster so we can have greener hydrogen faster?